What would you like to
Don't
hear?
tempt me.
I'm
Oh,
gonna.
he was talking to you.
Oh, maybe not.
You can sit.
Okay.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
There's a lot of you here for a 4th of July weekend. Good for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Before we get started, we want to welcome any newcomers who might be with us today. Anybody new? No? Okay, well, we'll move on. Elizabeth Betzel is our speaker today, and her title is Seeing Ourselves Through the Eyes of Possibility. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being with us today and joining us. So, thanks, Elizabeth. And we're grateful to have Ralph Leesburg here providing the music. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, he got applause. Elizabeth, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Oh, there you go. Well deserved, well deserved. Many thanks to all of you, both here and online, for joining us today and for your ongoing support of our ministry, whether by PayPal or on our website, unitydelawareohio.org, or here in our offering baskets. We are grateful. And a few announcements so you know what's coming up. This Tuesday, the 7th, is the first Tuesday of the month. So, of course, the Unity Women's Lunch Group will be meeting at 12:30 at Scramblers Restaurant, just up the road on 23. Newcomers are always welcome. Touch base with Linda Wesner if you have any questions. It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it if you have not done it before. Okay. Elizabeth Betzel will be facilitating another of her Circle of Trust on Tuesday, July 14th. Here at the church from 1 to 2:30. This one will be focused on the blessings of summer. It's been a hot summer lately, hasn't it? And it's titled Summer, a Season of Abundance, Light, and Collaboration. And there's a sign-up sheet for that at the gathering table at the back. And then, of course, our annual summer concert's coming up fast. It's going to be Saturday, July 18th at 6 p.m. And it'll be on the back dock in the lawn if the weather permits. But if it's too hot or too wet, we'll be inside, so don't worry. A wonderful lineup of musicians is coming together, all your favorite singers and more. So I do hope you're planning to join us. Make a note to bring a lawn chair and join us on July 18th. I think that's all for now. So many thanks to everyone for joining us today, both here and online, for supporting our ministry with your tithes and donations. And now we go into prayer. As always, we start with prayer, holding the highest in mind and heart for ourselves, each other, our communities, and our world. Remember, you can send in a prayer request at any time by using the prayer request tab at the top of our website, unitydelawareohio.org. Now Ralph will lead us into prayer with a song.
That's the wrong one. This is by Eric Hansen. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. And if you know it, sing along. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer. Every thought becomes a prayer.
I invite you to close your eyes and to lower your gaze and relax into your chair. We gather this morning in gratitude for the sacred moment, this holy pause amid our busy lives. As we settle into the stillness, we become aware of the divine presence all around us and within us, the presence that has never left us, never forsaken us. In this quiet moment, we release the stories that tell us we are not enough. We release the judgments we have placed upon ourselves and others. We release the fears that have convinced us to make ourselves smaller than we truly are. As we breathe in, we welcome God's love. As we breathe out, we let go of limitation. As we breathe in, we remember our divine nature. As we breathe out, we release every false belief that would separate us from our own wholeness. We remember that we are created in God's image and likeness. We remember that beneath every doubt, every fear, every challenge, there's an unshakable center of wisdom, strength, courage, and peace. May we hear the still small voice of Spirit whispering within our hearts, "You are stronger than you know. You are loved more deeply than you can imagine. You have everything you need for the next step on your journey." And so, as we rest for a few moments in the silence, allowing divine love to reveal itself within us. In this sacred stillness, we recognize the life of Spirit within us, steady, present, and whole. This divine presence lives within each one of us this morning, in those joining us online, in those we're holding in our hearts, in every being in this world, enfolding us in love, protecting us, guiding us on our path, healing us, blessing us with every resource we need. For this presence, for this community, and for the promise unfolding in every life gathered here, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Liz. Well, when I read Liz's topic for this morning, this song immediately jumped into mind. I wrote it on the beach in North Carolina 10, 12, 15 years ago. I don't know how long ago, but one of my morning readings is 365 by Ernest Holmes. And it was a July thing, and it seems to fit. When you're looking through the eyes of God, you will see everything that is worth seeing. When you're looking through the eyes of God, you will see all the joy that you are being. When you're watching everything go by, from the earth up to the highest sky, you will see it will be ecstasy when you're looking through the eyes of God. loving with the heart of God, and you will feel all the joy of your existence when you're loving from the start with God. And you will see it's the path of least resistance when you open up your heart and say, I can see that love is truly the way. You will see it will be ecstasy when you're looking through the eyes of God. You will see it will be ecstasy when you're looking through the eyes of God. You will see it will be ecstasy when you're looking through the eyes of God. Thank you. And now, Liz Betzel.
Thank you, Ralph. You hit that one out of the park. Perfect. Perfect introduction for what we're going to be looking at today, and a beautiful introduction. Thank you. All right. Well, glad you could join us this morning. It's a hot one, and it's nice and cool in here, so a good place to be. We're going to be looking at an Old Testament story this morning. So for my humor story, I thought I'd pull on a joke about some rabbis that here. So there are 4 rabbis who are debating scripture out in the garden. It is summer after all. And one of them notices he's continuously being outvoted by the other 3, even though he's absolutely certain he's right. At a certain point, his frustration gets the best of him, and he stands up and raises his hands and says, "My Lord, you must know that this is the right way, so give us a sign, let us know." As soon as he has spoken, a cloud materializes out of nowhere, moves in front of the sun, and dissolves again. The other 3 rabbis look at him, then at each other, and say, "Well, that was certainly unusual. The weather's been acting up a bit lately, so that doesn't really mean anything." And just continue with the discussion unmoved. The 4th rabbi, increasingly desperate, stands up again and calls out, "My Lord, they continue to defy your word. Please send another sign to help them see the error of their ways." This time, it's not just one cloud, but the entire sky darkens. A thunderclap sounds, and a bolt of lightning hits just next to the other 3 rabbis. They're startled, but after catching their breath, conclude that no, you don't see that every day, but it's late summer, thunderstorms can come up quickly, and we're out in the open garden. There's no lightning rod on top of the synagogue, even though there really should be, etc. So this still doesn't mean anything. We'll stick to our viewpoints. Thank you very much. Now absolutely livid and still outvoted, the 4th rabbi gets up one final time, stamps his feet, raises his hands, and shouts, "O Lord, you who created all, for the love of your people and the ways of the world, make your will known, so that it may be clear even to these stubborn mules." And a booming voice fills the sky. "He is correct." The other 3 rabbis look up, look down at their colleagues, and one finally clears his throat and says, "Well, that's still 3 against 2. So, just a little bit of stubbornness there. So today I'm going to explore a story from the Old Testament, as I said earlier. This story takes place at a pivotal moment in Israel's journey through the wilderness. After generations of slavery and years of wandering, the people finally stand at the threshold of the Promised Land. At God's instruction, Moses sends 12 scouts, one leader from each tribe, to explore the land and report back on what they find. 40 days later, they return carrying evidence of extraordinary abundance. They bring back fruit so plentiful that a single cluster of grapes must be carried by 2 men. The land is everything they had hoped for, and yet they do not all see it the same way. 10 of the scouts return overwhelmed by fear. They speak of fortified cities, powerful inhabitants. In describing their experience, they utter one of the most revealing and most heartbreaking lines in all of Scripture. "We were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so were we in theirs." I've always been fascinated by that verse. What strikes me is how profoundly it speaks to our inner life. Long before the language of psychology, long before unity teachings existed, this ancient story understood something essential about human nature. The way we see ourselves shapes the world we experience. The Scouts' greatest mistake was not that they felt afraid. Everyone feels afraid sometimes. Everyone encounters moments when the challenge before them seems larger than they are. The deeper problem was the second half of that statement. Not only were the spies grasshoppers in their own eyes, they believed they were also viewed as grasshoppers by the inhabitants of the land. How did they know that? Did the inhabitants of the land call them grasshoppers? Did they mock them? Did they tell them they don't belong? The scripture doesn't give us that information. The Scouts looked at themselves and saw weakness, inadequacy, and limitation. Then they assumed everyone else saw them the same way. Their fear became a story, and their story became their reality. Unity principles teach us that our consciousness is creative. We do not merely respond to life. We are participants in creating our experience. We create our experience through the beliefs we hold, through the thoughts we speak, and the stories we tell ourselves. Charles Fillmore often reminded us that our thoughts are formative, that what we consistently hold in consciousness tends to express itself in our lives. The Scouts had unconsciously accepted a belief in their own smallness, and once they did, they could no longer see the abundance before them. And the question I would like to consider this morning is, how often do we do the same? How often do we walk into a room already convinced that we're not smart enough, not accomplished enough, not successful enough, not worthy enough? How often do we assume others are judging us, not because they actually are, but because we have already judged ourselves? The tragedy of the Scouts was not that they encountered giants. The tragedy was that they had already shrunk themselves. And I suspect most of us have had moments like this. I know that I have. Many of you know that I've spent the last couple of years learning how to walk again, actually, after what should have been a routine hip replacement became something much more difficult. During that long recovery, I began to think of myself as someone who had mobility challenges. Even after 2 years of recovery, I sometimes catch myself limping or moving slowly when I'm not paying attention. During my recovery, I remembered something that I learned from Harry Palmer in his book entitled Resurfacing, something he calls a transparent belief. A transparent belief is a belief that has become so invisible to us. It is so familiar, so deeply accepted that we no longer recognize it as a belief. We assume that it is reality. It's like wearing a pair of glasses for so long that we forget we're wearing them. We don't see the lenses anymore. We see the world through them. As I struggled through months and months of recovery, I gradually adopted a belief about myself. I'm someone with mobility challenges. Now, there was some truth in that statement. I was recovering from several surgeries. I walked differently. I needed wheelchair assistance at airports. But over time, that observation became something more. It became a part of my identity. And because the belief that I have mobility issues had become transparent, I no longer recognized it as a belief. I experienced it as my reality. When I entered an airport in a wheelchair, I assumed people saw me as diminished, as old, as feeble. When I was escorted to the front of the security line, I imagined people were judging me. When I found myself moving slowly, I unconsciously reinforced the story that I was limited. What needed to change was not my physical condition. What needed to change was my awareness. It's taken almost 2 years for me to recognize that because of this transparent belief that I have limited mobility and the belief that everybody sees me this way, I was looking at myself through a lens that I had mistaken for reality. The facts have not changed. I'm still living with pieces of metal in my body that support my skeleton. What needed to change was my perspective. I had just begun to see myself through the wrong lens. And isn't that true for many of us? The stories we tell ourselves becomes the lens through which we see the world. When we see ourselves as grasshoppers, we begin to imagine that everyone else sees us that way too. But what if they don't? This is exactly what happened to the 10 scouts. Their transparent belief was not there are giants in the land. The giants were real. Their transparent belief was we are small. And because that belief had become invisible, they didn't question it. They simply assumed everyone else saw them the same way. They reported we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so were we in theirs. But Joshua and Caleb saw the same facts, but they were looking through different lenses. Their identity was rooted not in fear, but in possibility, not in limitation, but in power, not in scarcity, but in trust. What if many of the limitations we experience are not imposed from the outside, but are actually created from within? The scouts that Moses sent out stood at the threshold of a promised future and could not enter because they had already decided who they were. Their greatest obstacle was not the giants. It was the smallness they carried inside themselves. And perhaps that invites us to ask, where have I become a grasshopper in my own eyes? Where have I mistaken fear for truth? Where have I allowed old stories to define what is possible? Because sometimes the first step into the promised land is learning to see ourselves differently. Unity teaches that every person carries the divine image and likeness of God within them. This means that our essential identity is not weakness, limitation, or fear. Our essential identity is spiritual. We are capable, whole, creative, connected to an infinite source. When we forget that truth, we begin living from appearances rather than from spiritual reality. That is exactly what separates the 10 scouts from Joshua and Caleb. All 12 scouts saw the same land, the same giants, the same fortified cities, the same challenges. The facts were identical. The difference lay in how they interpreted what they saw. The 10 scouts saw obstacles. Joseph and Caleb saw opportunity. The 10 scouts saw danger. Joseph and Caleb saw possibility. The 10 scouts saw only giants. Joshua and Caleb saw the grapes as well. And perhaps this is one of the most important spiritual lessons we can learn. We all face giants. These giants come in different disguises: a health challenge, a difficult diagnosis, the loss of someone we love, a family struggle, a career transition, a dream that feels forever out of reach, a world that sometimes feels uncertain and overwhelming. In those moments, we may hear the voice of fear saying, I can't do this. I'm too old, I'm tired, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have what it takes. These fears become so familiar that we stop questioning them. We mistake them for the truth. The Bible responds with remarkable compassion. It does not deny the giants. The giants are real. The fear is real. The challenges are real. The mistake is believing that fear tells the whole story. The mistake is forgetting that there's another way to see. Spiritual growth often begins when we become aware of the lenses through which we have been seeing ourselves and our lives. Healing begins when we recognize that a belief is not necessarily reality. Transformation begins when we choose to see ourselves through the eyes of spirit rather than through the eyes of fear. The good news is that we don't have to wait for all the giants to disappear before we move forward. We simply need to recognize that we are more than the stories we've been telling ourselves. These days, I find myself having more empathy for the 10 scouts than I once did. I understand what it feels to be overwhelmed. I understand what it means to doubt myself. I understand what it means to wonder whether the future holds anything better than I can actually currently see. And yet I am increasingly drawn to the courage of Joshua and Caleb, not because they were fearless, but because they refused to let fear have the final word. That is faith, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to trust something greater than the fear. The willingness to remember who we are when fear tries to convince us otherwise. So when we stand before the challenges in our own lives, may we have the honesty to acknowledge the giants, but may we also have the wisdom to notice the grapes. May we remember the abundance that is already present. May we remember the divine life moving within us. May we resist the temptation to see ourselves as grasshoppers. And when we cannot do that, may we be blessed with people around us who remind us who we truly are. For the promised land is not reached by those who never feel afraid. It is reached by those who refuse to let fear define them. Let's close in a word of prayer. We are grateful for the wisdom of ancient stories that continue to speak to our lives today, for the reminder that we are more than our fears, more than our doubts, and more than the limitations we sometimes place upon ourselves. As we prepare to leave the sacred space, let us remember who we truly are. When the giants of life appear before us, may we not forget the grapes. When fear whispers that we are too small, too weak, or not enough, may we hear the deeper voice of Spirit reminding us that we are a beloved expression of the divine, created with strength, with wisdom, with resilience, with purpose. We step into this new week ready to see with spiritual eyes, to live with open hearts, and to trust the promise of a greater good unfolding in our lives. For this truth, for this community, and for the blessings yet unseen, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
I always like metaphor stories. I really do. Gardens are one of my favorite metaphor stories. But lighthouses are another metaphor story for me. And I wrote this one after reading a book about lighthouses. There have been dark times in my life, times I could hardly see. There were times when it seemed like the whole wide world shut off its light from me. Times that I felt so bad, despair had taken its toll, like I was shut up in a windowless room in a dark night of the soul. It's when I saw the beacon of light, saw the beacon of hope. I felt the tower of strength, giving me the power to cope, lighting up my path, showing me the proof. It was there all the time, the lighthouse of truth. Now when the sun seems to disappear, storm clouds fill the skies, I know hope is always near. I just have to open my eyes. It stands taller than the trees, and its light is shining true over the raging seas, with a promise for me and you. On and on, illuminating where we need to go. Ever is it faltering, ever is it faltering, ever does it glow. When I think about how I got here, I sometimes wonder about the changes in me, from a person who was living in fear to a person who is living free. And if I just keep moving ahead, living life day by day, accepting my daily bread, with the truth to light my way, that's when I see the beacon of light, see the beacon of hope. I'll feel that tower of strength, giving me the power to cope, lighting up my path, showing me the proof. It was there all the time, the lighthouse of truth. Yes, it was there all the time, the lighthouse of truth. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, a warm thank you to our speaker today, Elizabeth Betzel, for an inspiring message. Oh, the possibilities. And we'll be talking about that at the women's luncheon, won't we? So we always have a good topic for that. So thank you, Elizabeth. And many thanks to Ralph Leesburg.
Thank you.
Wonderful as always. And then also I want to thank Mike Hale for his talented AV tech. He's stepping in and helping us with our in-house and streaming. And of course, we want to thank the kind folks, or the hospitality angels I call them, providing our refreshments after the service today. There's a lot out there. Linda Hill and Judy and Jim. So thanks so much. Can't wait to get over there. And we want to extend a warm thank you to all of you for your tithes and donations, whether by PayPal, by donating through the church website, or here in the offering baskets. We are so appreciative of your support. One more page. So just a quick recap about things that are coming up. The Women's Unity Lunch Group is going to meet this Tuesday the 7th at 12:30 at the Scramblers Restaurant up the road. Elizabeth Betzel will be facilitating another of her Circle of Trust on Tuesday, July 14th, this time on the Blessings of Summer. That's here at the church at 2 o'clock on July 14th. And don't forget our annual summer concert, which is Saturday, July 18th at 6 p.m. on the back lawn, if the weather permits, and inside if it's too hot or too wet. So, are there any other announcements? Okay, well then, let's circle up for a peace song. It's Happy Special Day?
Oh, it is. First time?
It's Happy Special Day, okay. Does anybody have a special day? A birthday? Jim, is it a birthday?
Big day coming up.
What big day?
I turned big numbers.
Well, that sounds like a birthday to me. Ken's yours a birthday? Okay. Okay, July, there's got to be some more things happening in July.
My sister Betty Ann on the 12th. She's in
Okay.
St. Louis, so never mind.
Okay, so here we go. Special day to you. Happy special day to you. Happy special day, you're wonderful. Happy special day to you. God bless you now. God bless you now. God bless you, you're wonderful. God is blessing you now.
Happy special.
Happy birthday. Okay, we'll circle up for the peace song.
Everybody connected? Yes.
In the meantime, I sent Joe a picture. Somebody commented and said, make Ralph, somebody commented, what a wonderful songwriter you are.
Oh, thank you.
I think it was your mom. No, no. I'm sorry. No, I didn't recognize the name. No. Yeah, I finally got the camera. It's in this. So, yeah, it's working. But I went out, the audio was all there. The audio streaming stuff. So that was the good part.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah,